Hi everyone, this is Richa Mehta and we are here for a special episode of Trending Life with Richa Mehta. Welcome back. You can see the heading above, How to Sharpen Your Interview Skills. Well, we have a very special guest today who will help you in solving the issue if you have any while facing your interview. Today we have Colonel Prem Vas, who has more than 3 decades of professional career with Indian Armed Force and Corporate. He is international author with his recent book How to Sharpen Your Interview Skills, being read in US, Australia, Europe, apart from Indian students and professionals, also known as famous leadership coach. We have a small video which will give you more idea whom we having right now. Now, without wasting any further time, let's welcome the leadership coach and author, Colonel Prem Vas.
Hi everyone, good to be here. Wow, thanks a lot, Richard. This is wonderful meeting you virtually, firstly, and yes, and to share a lot about my career and the book. And I'm here. Yes, just shoot whatever you want to ask.
So this seems to be quite proactive. How have you been? How is this lockdown treating you?
Okay, so lockdown. I've actually speaking. I was little worried about how things would be going, but then over a period of about 2 3 months, I realized that I can, make use of this lockdown, and that's how this book came about. So I used this period of lockdown to write this book, and it took me about 1.5 months, and here's the book.
Wow. So my first question to you is about this Sony. Please walk us through your journey and of course talking about being an author. So please let our viewers know what you do, what you used to do, and how this idea about the book came up.
Okay, so let's start from school because it starts from the school. So I was from the Kendriya Vidyalaya, and at about 3 schools. All of my schooling was in Kendriya Vidyalaya, and it's one of the best schools of Chennai. And so that's where, in most of the classes, right, I was always the class leader. So leadership came naturally to me. So that was one. And then in two of the schools, I was the school leader. I was school leader of Kendriya Vidyalaya Gilnagar and the school leader of Kendriya Vidyalaya IIT, both. So then I realized that, okay, so leadership was something which is innate. And then the first profession that I took up was in the Indian Railways. I was working with the statistical department there for 2 years. Then I found that leadership thirst, was getting unabated. So then I wrote the exams for the CDS, and I walked through the Officers Training Academy. I didn't say walk, I should have said run through it because we were always running over during that training, right? So I finished that. I got commissioned in the Indian Artillery, and I was with them for about 21 and a half years. In between, I was with the National Security Guards, which we call as the Black Hat Commandos. Yeah, I was a young captain when I led a team there, and most of the operations, what people hear, read, see movies, we've been doing that, done that kind of a thing. And soon after that, after about 21 and a half years, I went and did a course in IIM Ahmedabad. And after doing that course, I switched over to the corporate and four different industries. First, I was with a plantation, South India's largest plantation, and Harrison Malayalam was a company. I was the head of administration and security there. Then I joined a US-based company called Valley Technologies, an MNC at Bangalore and Chennai, which converted to, or rather, it got merged with Scientific Games. And so I was with them. I was heading the HR Center of Excellence. So I was with HR thereafter. And then Chief Operating Officer of a private-public partnership in Pondicherry, and then head of HR of another IT company here in Cochin. And that's where I decided to settle down. And so I'm settled down now in a place called Aluva, which is close to Ernakulam and on the way to them. So I've got the best of both worlds. It's very close to nature as well as to the city of Ernakulam. So that's my journey. Currently, I'm a specialist in human capital management for a management company called Abenel Management Consulting Private Limited. It's based out of Bangalore, but I work out of Cochin. And I'm now pursuing my passion as an infopreneur, right? So this book is part of that and a lot more to do.
Okay. So
Yeah.
we had a few comments in between from Shagun saying, nice to see Colonel. Rohit, who said watching. Then we had Komal, who was glad to see you on the show, and Debashish and Suman Mehta.
Wonderful. Okay. Nice to meet you guys. Nice.
Okay. So, what was the idea behind this book? I mean, why, how to sharpen your interview skill? What made you think that, something like this should be there on the book?
Yeah. So this happened by accident. See, so we are a part of the HR network. So there's one network called the Best of HR in which I was a member. So the founder of that group said that, Prem, see, we are going through a pandemic. Why don't you do a webinar on any subject that you're fond of? So I said, okay, let's do interviews, because a lot of people were losing their jobs, right? And so, no, they need to look for a job. So interviews is something which is part of today's life, right? Earlier, if you remember, during my dad's time at least, when you were in a company, you used to work for 15, 20, 25 years and used to take a golden watch, and it's a big thing during those days, right?
True.
Today, you're moving every 4 to 5 years or even lesser, right? So interviews is the only way that you're progressing to your career. Just mark my words. I said interviews is the only way that you're progressing to your career, because if you don't pass an interview, you're not going to get the job, right? So that's your first step. So that's why I realized that interviews is very important. It's part of everyone's life today, even if you're an entrepreneur, right? Even if an entrepreneur, you may not be doing an interview classically, but if you're going to ask for funds, investment, it is an interview of sorts. I mean, you're asking for something, you're asking for a job, you're asking for funds. So that is the reason why I felt interview must be a subject that I must deal with. And so I said, okay, let me do a webinar on that. And when I did that, a whole lot of people liked it, and they got back to me to ask more questions. Then I said, okay, why not write a book? It reaches faster. It reaches with a lot more people. A webinar is just for about that hour, right? So that's how this book got created.
So Anuradha says, congratulations, Colonel. And we have Sachin and Yogesh, who are glad to see Trending Live with Richa Mehta back.
Okay.
So like you said, interview is the first step. So we can say that this is your first step for being author also?
Yes, it is. It certainly is. I wanted to be an author all along, okay? But right from my younger days, I was good at writing. So I used to write articles. I used to write articles, professional articles, while I was in the army, and I also used to write articles for when I was in IM. I started a thing called musings. So the everyday life that we have in IM. So I used to pull the life, and then in IMA, Ahmedabad, everybody was fond of. They used to, earn to see my mail on musings. Okay, so that's when I realized that I could make turn this obviously into a passion, and then benefit out of it. But then over the period of 10 years, the corporate life is really hectic. So then I met across Gurukul publishers who gave me a very easy way of writing a book, right? Then I said, okay, here it goes. And then pandemic, and then the webinar, all of that put together, and law of attraction, I believe in
Right.
that. So the book came about. That's how it is.
So Himanshu Pandey says very nice initiative. And I missed the
Thank you.
last comment.
Okay.
So it was something about, yes. Anuj said nice initiative, so many portfolios. You seem to be role model for the youth. It seems that the people who are writing the comment are you're inspiring the youth already.
Yeah, so that's one of my favorite forte. Even when I was in the when in the army, I used to be fond of grooming the youngsters. We call the young officers who join as lieutenants and who become captains and majors. So I used to be fond of grooming them for their leadership roles. Because army is purely leadership role, right? So that was one. And when I came to the corporate too, that thing. Hang on, I connect well with young people. I don't know why, so that's the reason why. So I get along well with them. Maybe I think like how they do, and that's one of the reasons. And so I was able to help them out, and so their approach. I was very very approachable. That's one of the reasons. I didn't put a
Right.
block. I didn't create a wall, so they could reach out to me, and that's how it is. And some of my son's friends are also very avid readers of this book, and so that way, yes, you're right. Yeah, that's how I've been able
Because
to connect.
Tamanna also wrote very nice initiative. Good to see Colonel. Tamanna herself is an entrepreneur and has been. She's a housewife though, but she had that spark, like something you're talking about youth. So she had that spark of something, starting something of her own, and maybe not only to youth but also for people who are sitting at home and wants to crack it. You are being the role model. Priyanka says, "Well, will surely buy this book." See, already we have not even
Great.
started talking
Great.
about the book.
Great, Priyanka. Thanks. Okay, good. I'm impressed. Okay.
So, what is the unique quality which makes a book stand out?
Okay. So, yeah, there are a lot of books. If you go to the internet, you go to Amazon itself, you have a lot of books on interviews, right? So I decided to write a book which is different. Okay, I wanted something, 3 decades, it's not funny, right? I mean, it's a whole lot
Of
of
course.
experience with me. Fine, and I have done countless interviews, ranging from freshers, interns to people who are switching jobs, even to a CEO and the C-suite, rather, what we call as in the corporate, the top leaders. So in all of this, there are a lot of things that I learned in the interviews. What makes them click and what makes them fail, both. So I said
Right.
that I must put all of this together so that a lot of people can gain from it. Okay, right? Like I told you, interviews is the one that actually makes your career. First, that's your first
True.
step. Thereafter, of course, how you build is different. So that's the reason why this book. And what is unique about this book is that I have put my experience in this, so it's not a cut paste from the internet or from anywhere else. I put my experience in that. And secondly, I've also covered the entire spectrum of people who go through interviews, right from an intern to a graduate, a postgraduate, to people who are switching jobs from 5, 10, 15 years, including the senior lot. Okay, so they are classified into that. So each of them has to face a very different way of doing an interview, right? So I've touched upon all aspects of that. And then I went into people to use a friendly book, so there are situations. A lot of books are there which tells you 100 questions that can come for an interview and how to answer them. I didn't go that route. I didn't use that route at all. So what I did was, in this book, I posed those questions which are commonly asked, and gave spaces in the book for people to write their own answer. I only told them how to write. So that is what was so unique about this book. The third thing is that I've made this digital savvy. So I put a lot of this QR codes there. So for my checklist, for instance, if you want to check your CV, what all should you take? I put a QR there, so you can take it on a smartphone and do. You don't have to carry the book wherever you're going. You can go
Oh,
through that while you're sitting on the book, right? And similarly, just before the interview, you have a lot of checklists, right? Whether you take in your books, whether you take in your, sort of things, your dress and everything. So all of that checklist, I put it again on a QR code. You just take on your device, you just take a snap of it, and you are there with you just before the interview. You have the checklist also with you, right? What to speak, how to speak, and all that. So I made that friendly. And of course, the most important thing is that a couple of secrets which you will not find anywhere else, right? I'm not disclosing it now. Fine. On how to face the interview. How do you switch your mindset? There is a mind, it's a mind game actually. And how do you switch
of
that
course,
mind
it's a
game by
mind
doing
game
that?
because remember once I gave the interview and I was very well prepared, but they didn't ask anything about the core thing which I have studied about the company or for say about the job JD. It was something else. They asked me, that another question which I didn't understand. How would you sell this pen? What do you think? How many cars are there down the line, or how many cars are there in the parking lot? And I was like, "ये क्या पूछ रहे हैं?" What are they asking? They're not even asking what I'm here for.
Yeah. Yeah, so these questions are basically to find out, how quick are at your feet. And I did ask some
Right.
questions like that. Like the reason is that we know that you can't get an answer, right? I mean, if I ask somebody who's coming here, let's say it's an education institute, right? So if I ask
Right.
you a question, okay, how many eighth standard schools are there in the city of Ernakulam? Obviously you are not prepared to answer the question. But if you say, okay, I don't know the answer exact, but I know how to figure that out, so I say, okay,
Oh, the way
the
the answer
absolutely, yeah.
comes.
How do you answer? And the last thing about the book, which is very unique about my book, is I've got some of the people whom I've respected in the industry, the CHROs, no chief HR officers, the CEOs and the CEOs. I've got them to tell me in that book what is it in their entire career, the three things they look for in a candidate when they interview, right? And what are the three things
Right.
that puts them off when they interview? So I've got the experience of all of them condensed and put in this book, right? So that's what makes my book unique. A lot of people can hugely benefit from the book. That's one reason.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Ashish Mehta says very refreshing to see your show, Richa Mehta. Always catering people from different genres around the world. Thanks, Ashish, for watching the show. Shagun Setia wrote an interesting comment. He said, "Quick, that's like quick, Colonel, that you have written the book. इतनी देर में तो मैं book भी read नहीं कर पाता." That's what he said. I take this much time to read the book.
Okay, so if somebody is reading the book, I'll tell you, make use of technology. I made use of technology. Your Google
Yeah.
Sheet you can actually speak on the Google Sheet and it types out your text, right? And if you go to if you have a video, I did a webinar. I told you I did a webinar. So some of
Right.
the text of the webinar, I can play it and then I can convert that into a text. Then I only need to, of course, edit it. So that helps a lot. That helps hugely. It helps a
And
lot. You use
moreover, Colonel, I think it's your experience which counts. I mean, writing a book in 1.5 months talks about the 3 decades of experience you have across different things you have done in life.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, Risha. You said that, and yeah, thanks. You noticed. Yes, indeed it
Yes.
makes a difference.
So,
Yes.
so Himani says, happy to see you, Richard, another show, Trading Life. Thank you so much, Himani, for watching the show. So, people who are well articulated and I mean they excel in they do well in the interviews. So, do they have something to read in this book?
Yeah. So a lot of us feel, oh, interview. I mean, I've been all the jobs that I've got through interviews. Why should I read this book? Okay. Now, I would like to tell you here that when this is what I found out for people who are very well articulated, but they don't make it in the interview, right? Surprisingly, the reason is because people who are well articulated are fond of giving out their point of view, what they think is right, right?
Right.
Whereas they do not seem to appreciate the fact that the interview is looking at an answer to what he has had in his mind. Okay, so you are telling about what you, so that is where the articulation actually fails. This I got those in the book. What is it important? It's very important. I will also touch this upon this later, how perceptions matter, right? How the perceptions, the maximum perceptions matter. I will explain that in when a little going forward, how that happens. And people who are very good at articulation, they fail on this particular count. That's why I said that you must do this. Okay, that's my brother there, Pradeep was, who said congrats, Prem.
So he's saying congratulations, Prem.
Yeah, these
So
guys are all being great motivators. Yeah.
so you talked about youth. You talked about people who wants to crack the interview. So when you were writing the book, who was your target audience?
Yeah, so predominantly my target audience was, of course, I've covered everybody, but mostly it is the youngsters, that is the interns, the graduates, and people with between 5 to 10 years of service, or sorry, yeah, experience. Because they're shifting jobs today, and it is essentially for them. So I've covered for them. There are certain aspects which they need to know. That's covered in that. And people who are very high, like the very senior lot and all that, I wouldn't call it interviews. It would be more of an interaction which they have. At the senior lot, it is more of an interaction. It's not an interview per se. So
True.
that's what I did. Yeah.
So one
So
thing
it's
which
meant for
I've
all.
also realized from this show is that there are so many followers who are actually waiting to see new episode of Trending Live with Richa Mehta. Well, thank you so much, viewers, for showing so much enthusiasm and making this show a success already. So,
Yeah,
Colonel,
great, nice. Yeah.
What are the other social initiatives you have taken except being an author or publishing a book?
Yeah, so I realized that today social media is the route to connect with
True.
people, right? It is no more a pastime. It's now a fact of life, right? And so that's the reason I felt that I must use this as a means of going forward. So what I did was I just about 2.5 months earlier, I just created my first YouTube channel, right? I've
Oh,
used that all my recordings in that, and I did a small channel on what is like how to face the tough times. Today we are going through tough times. I felt that we must do programs that is meaningful, that is trending. That's why I did
exactly.
that. And then yes, then I did a carrier too, because when students pass at 11th and 12th, from 10th to 11th, and from 12th to the college, I did a program for them called transiting from college to a career, right? So these are things that
Right.
I've done. I put that into, so that's one. And second, of course, on Instagram, I whatever I put on Instagram, I put that on Facebook, and I started a new page called Leadership with Vas on Facebook, and that's where you are seeing this. And you are the first program that I'm delighted to mention
Wow.
that. And so that's where it has come. So I must thank Rahul, who had helped me connect with you. He is one who was responsible
Yes.
for setting
So
it up for
Captain
me.
Rahul must be watching the show. He was the one who wanted Colonel to be on the show because Colonel is doing such a wonderful job. And like he talked about using all social media platforms, I think your next book title should be about that because digitalization is something which everybody is living on these days. So what say, Colonel? What should we expect from the next book?
Right. Okay. So a lot of people have requested me to go to the other side of interviews, meaning that write a book on what should an interview do to
Oh,
select the right people. Okay, because if you select the wrong guy, if the right fit is not there, then it's very expensive. It's expensive in terms of time and money to the
true,
company. It's lost to them, right?
true.
So they want me to put that aspect of, because I've been doing that, right? Most of these years I've been doing interviewing, right, as a HR head and things like that. So I said my next book is definitely going to be. Then I'll take your cue on that, Richa. I will certainly put the digital aspect of it there. Definitely, it's part of that book. It's part of my current book too, but it will be there. That's my next one. And then there are two or three things two or other books that I want to do on leadership. That's my favorite passion about leadership. I tend to bring out anecdotes of leadership that helps people to inspire, going through common things that you do, not something exotic, something that is everyday happenings, right? I'll give you one quick example of that. You remember there was a video which went viral these days. There was this lady who was during the rains in that city. She came to that manhole and she stood there in the rains for hours together, making sure the vehicles don't run over that manhole because the water was going. It was an uncovered manhole. That's leadership. To me, that's leadership. Okay, you don't have to have a people to be leadership. So these are things that I want to bring out in the third book. Perhaps one book a year is what I'm looking at, but if the way things are moving, maybe I might do it much faster.
You can surely see from the number of comments we are getting that people are really looking forward for the book, and you have already written that we will buy the book. Just because the comments are pouring in quickly, so we will take the questions later, maybe after completing the first round, or maybe after the very interesting round, which is round two. We'll take all the questions later. And like you said, Colonel, the struggle is real because I'm an entrepreneur. I have my offices in New Delhi, and getting the right
Okay.
fit, getting the right employee is very important because the number of months it takes to actually train the employee, and then the employee leaves, or the person, or we feel that he's not the right fit, or we're not able to have the right person. It actually also hampers our growth, our revenue.
True. So yes, so that see, it's a skill and it's also intuitive, by the way. And how do you refine that intuitive skill? It's a science, Selecting a person for who's good is a science as well as an art. So I would dwell on both aspects of it. Science is pretty much available, but the art of getting the right person, right? That's something which I want to dwell on, and that's not very easily available around. I've
Exactly.
realized that. So I'll touch on that, and I'm sure after you read that book, Richa, you will get the right guys. I promise you.
I'm looking forward for that. So the last question which I want to ask, it's about leadership coach. So
Okay.
what exactly, just tell us more about that.
Right. So a lot of people, figure out leadership as something that is something only if you have it in you, it's there. Otherwise, you can't develop it. But I'm a very strong believer that leadership is trained. It is not. I very rarely somebody with a golden spoon can be a leader, right? Somebody who's like Ambani, his son is can go into a leadership role straight away. But not everybody is like that. You can always build up leadership, right? So that is one of the reasons why I felt coaching was required. Two, three reasons, quick reasons. One is, of course, you look at this. A lot of managers are there, right? Now the people are just managing, they're not being leaders. You got to be an inspirational leader. You can't be just managing, right? You have to be a part of, some part of managing is always there, but 80% of the time you're managing. That's a wrong way of doing leadership. So that is one aspect of it. And the third thing about the leadership that I want is an inspirational leader is one who sets example. So you got to set example and people just follow you. People should look forward to you and say, okay, I want to be part of Richa's team. I want to be part of Prem's team, like that. I want to be part of Devashish's team. That's what is required. If you get that kind of energy coming, then you are a successful leader, right? So that's how it is. So I want to
Wow.
coach on that.
Amazing, quite impressive, Colonel. So we have a small video which we would like our viewers to see. Already, Colonel has answered a lot of questions, and I'm sure the questions which are pouring in, a lot of you will find answers in that. So I would request the production team to please play the video.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that a lot of people must have थोड़ा बहुत तो idea हो ही गया होगा और कि exactly क्या है, कैसे करना है, and how inspirational you are. So I
Thank you.
have
Thank you.
very interesting round. It's a very
Okay.
small round though, just three. So we have three people who are facing issues with the interview. We would be
Yeah.
having few voiceovers, and I would request you to answer them one by one.
Okay. Great. Okay. Let's have
All
it.
right.
Okay.
Okay. So the first voiceover, production team, please can you play it?
Hello, sir. I am Nikita Mittal, and after graduation, I've been struggling really hard to land myself a job. But due to some nervous experiences in the past interviews, I am so low on confidence right now. And I become really overconscious and start fumbling and sometimes unable to express myself in front of the interviewers. So this job means a lot to me and would be highly obliged if you could give me some valuable tips so that it can boost my confidence and I can get over with the anxiety and of course crack the interview. Thanking you so much in anticipation and looking forward to your tips. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Okay. Can you hear me? Yeah. Right. So Nikita, you're not alone. You're certainly not alone. A whole lot of people go through anxiety. It's just that the anxious levels are different for various people. That's about all. Right. So let's first address this anxiety. Okay. I'll just tell you some actionable points that you need to do so that you can get over this. Right. Firstly, you've been very courageous to admit that you're anxious. You have an anxiety. A lot of people don't do this, and that actually is a problem. So you admitted that you have anxiety. Now that you admitted that you have a problem, now let's see how to handle this problem of anxiety. Right. What you should do is that just go down, sit down where you're not going to be disturbed, take a piece of paper and a pen, write down all the questions or anything that comes to your mind which is making you anxious when you're going for this interview. Everything that comes to your mind. The most obvious ones will be the first that comes to your mind. Just keep writing that down. Just keep writing those questions down and the anxiety that comes to you. And then once you do that, put it aside, go have a break, take a break, a cold coffee, whatever you want, get back. And now what you should do, you just sit down and write what you're good at. Okay, everything that comes to your mind, even the most minutest things that you're good at. You may be good at connecting with people. You may be good at, you may be having a great smile. You may be good at analytics. You may be good at maths. You may be good at writing. You may be good, whatever you write, just keep writing all of that down, right? Now comes to the JD, that is the job description which you may have got for going for that interview that you need to go, right? Pull that JD out. In case you haven't got the job description, please ring up that person who's offered the job. Ask them, what are you looking at in this job, right? So they will tell you a few things that what they're looking at in this job. Note this down. Don't just keep it to your memory. Start jotting down every word that they're trying to say. It's very important what this step is. Now, what you do, go back, have another cup of coffee, just sit down, put all these three things together, right? The job description that you've got, what are they looking for, and see what are those strengths, those qualities, the best things in you, max them up, and see how, if they ask a question on that particular aspect. I'll give you a quick example. Let us say they're looking for customer care officials, executives, and so they said that we want somebody who's very good at voice, right? If you have a great voice, that is a first plus, fine. So you are able to tell them that about this, right? So you say that you have a great voice, so you link with that. Then second is that customer care is very people can be abusive, people can be good, but you are a great listener and you're an empathizer. Put that as one of those qualities that you have. If they ask you, okay, somebody, if they give you a situation, somebody is going to shout at you, how will you answer that question? So you say, I'm an empathizer, I can listen, I listen to the people first. By listening itself, about 50% of the problem gets reduced, right? The situation gets eased, and then I give them a solution. So here is how you converted your strength into a solution for them. This is how you do it. And believe me, and I promise you that your anxiety would have reduced a lot because you automatically gained your confidence because you have got answers to both. Your anxiety is because you do not know what is the questions that they're going to ask. So you got answers for most of them, and that's how it. And if at all you get an answer question that you don't have an answer, chill. You're not walking encyclopedias, right? Just say that I don't know. That's it. Okay, and tell them that I can find out that answer and get back to you if you're fine with it, or can we go to the next one? That's it. That's
So
how you do it.
rightly answered. I'm sure there's something which I would also take it, because I remember the first award I got on stage. It was a national award, and I was supposed to answer few questions which I was not aware of. It's like interview live on stage in front of everybody, and I was anxious. I was going crazy because I knew that was something on a national level, something which was, you can understand the kind of anxiety a
Yeah,
person has. So I was going crazy, and there are a few points which I will also note it down because it will help me in the next stage thing which I would be doing. Thank you so much, Colonel, for answering that in length. So now I think, so Colonel, can you hear us?
yeah, certainly I can.
Perfect. So we have another one. This is interesting one. So we would like our viewers and Colonel to please hear this.
Hello, Colonel Prem. This is Premangsh. I really wanted to ask a question. I appear for so many interviews. Um, However, I'm unable to get selected. I have given like 5, 6 interviews, and I was like one of the best. Like one of the best. It was my best performance. But somehow, I've been facing issues in terms of getting the final call or even getting rejections at times. I mean, some of them actually don't even call to reject. Some just call them and reject on my face. I don't understand why it's happening with me. I think I know everything and I've been able to answer everything, but I'm not getting finally selected. What do you think is the reason for that?
Okay, thank you, Primansh. Okay, this is something which I've come across a lot of people. Yes, you said it, but let me tell you the answer. The first answer that I'm going to answer to you is that you think you are the best. Okay, you're not going to like this answer. You think you are the best, but the interviewer did not think so, and that's why you didn't make it, right? There's something about, so you think what you're best is because from your point of view you think you're best, but you have not answered what is the interviewer looking for. Your answer may be great, you have eloquently put it, you've been very erudite in the way that you explained it, so that's why you feel that you've done your best, right? But that's not the case. What answer that he's looking for, you've not been able to offer that, then that's the reason. So this is where my book comes, where I tell you that 60 to 70% of your interviews are successful only if you prepare for it. Your preparation is 70%, right? 20% is just the way that you express yourself in the interview. All the preparation comes to you at that particular moment. That 1 hour or 1.5 hours that you have with the interviewer, everything, that 70% of it comes out in that 20% there, right? And balance 10%, of course, let's not leave Lady Luck away, right? She also needs to participate. So this 10% is only luck, right? And so you need to now, what you should do, and I'll tell you how to go about this, especially people who don't make this, is first and foremost is that uh, learn how to listen. Okay, the point is that what the question is, what does it entail? How can I add value to what they've asked? If they asked you, okay, can you tell us how can you be, give us an example of how good you are at handling people? If they ask you a question like that, how will you be able to handle that? So you should be able to tell that, to tell that, and you should be able to tell people how you're able to do that with the experience that you have, and then how did you convert that. So there is technique of doing this, so I've given you in the book how to use it, very simple technique, and you keep that in mind in answering any of these questions, behavioral questions, especially behavioral questions. You will be able to tell the interviewer what he's looking for. I've got a technique in that. Okay, it'll take too long a time for me to give that in this, but then read that book, and an excellent way of handling such questions. So that's one of the aspect. And last, what I feel about is that have you ever, Ramangsh, have you ever spoken to the people who rejected you? Have you given them a call and told them that Can you tell me where I've gone wrong? Okay, today's most of the companies may not want to revert back to you, but please make an effort to speak to them. Some of them will tell you where you have gone wrong or why didn't they select you, right? Do not get into an argument with them or do any justification there, right? Don't get defensive there. Just take that feedback, go back home, sit down and analyze it and be honest with yourself. What does it, why did that person get that impression from you, right? In spite of you having done well. And then when you work on yourself, you will really be able to address this issue next time when you go. And all the best. You will certainly make it if you work on the way. Action it. Okay, don't just listen to what I'm saying.
Very nicely answered. And we have a lot of people who say they will surely buy the book. And of course, the number of questions which are pouring in. We have already crossed the time limit, but let's see if we can answer. We'll try to answer majority of the questions. We have the last voiceover from somebody who has 16 years of work ex, and he has few questions which he would like to put across.
Oh, that's interesting. Certainly. Okay, let's play that.
थैंक यू रिचा जी, आपने मुझे ये प्लेटफॉर्म दिया जिसके थ्रू मैं कर्नल वास से कनेक्ट कर पा रहा हूँ। कर्नल वास, मेरा नाम राजेश गुप्ता है एंड मैं एक ऑटोमोबाइल इंडस्ट्री में काम करता हूँ। मुझे यहाँ पे काम करते हुए 16 साल हो चुके हैं। मेरी समस्या ये है, मुझे अब ऐसा लगता है कि जो मज़ा और जो इंटरेस्ट मुझे पहले आता था वो मुझे अब नहीं आ रहा है यहाँ पे काम करने में। मैं सोच रहा था काफ़ी समय से क्या मुझे कोई नई इंडस्ट्री में ट्राई करना चाहिए, बट आप तो जानते हैं जैसे जो हालात हैं अभी और जो पैंडमिक आ गया है उसकी वजह से काफ़ी लोगों की नौकरी चली गई हैं। तो आपको लगता है कि ये एक सही डिसीजन होगा कि मैं किसी और नौकरी के लिए अप्लाई करूं? अगर हाँ तो मुझे उसके लिए क्या करना चाहिए? क्या आप मुझे प्लीज़ गाइड कर सकते हैं इसके ऊपर? थैंक यू।
Okay. या सो राजेश जी, आप जो हैं ये मिड लाइफ कैरियर क्राइसिस यू आर गोइंग थ्रू दैट, लॉट ऑफ पीपल, काफी लोग इस सिचुएशन से गुजर रहे हैं. दिस इज कॉल्ड मिड कैरियर लाइफ क्राइसिस. ओके, क्या करना चाहिए अभी? सो आपने बताया कि आप 16 साल तक यू आर इन वन पर्टिकुलर कंपनी. आई थिंक आप जो है एक कंफर्ट जोन में घुस गए हैं. सो यू आर एक्चुअली रॉटिंग दे, यू आर स्टैग्नेटिंग. वो है आपकी सिचुएशन. अभी आप ये सोल्यूशन इसका आप ही हैं. ये फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन आप अपने आप पूछना चाहिए कि शुड आई कंटिन्यू दिस, या मैं कोई दूसरा कैरियर शुड आई सेलेक्ट इट, मैं दूसरा लाइन चूज करना चाहती हूँ. डू यू वांट टू बिकम एंटरप्रेन्योर चाहिए, डू यू वांट टू कंटिन्यू टू द सेम इंडस्ट्री इन अ डिफरेंट लेवल? ये क्वेश्चन आप पूछना अपने आप से. और जब आप ये पूछोगे, प्लीज आस्क, गेट योर फैमिली इन्वॉल्व इन इट, बिकॉज अभी आपके बच्चे पढ़ रहे होंगे, दे विल बी इन हायर क्लासेस और व्हाटएवर. सो यू हैव टू टेक योर फैमिली इनटू कॉन्फिडेंस एंड take this question. The इसको करने के बाद, once you have an answer, because I switched my career after when I was 48. From an army, I went into corporate when I was 48. So today I am there, whatever, wherever I am, God bless, thanks for me, and that's the reason today I'm here. So I switched careers. So you can switch careers. अब ये pandemic है ना, इसको excuse निकाल के, don't hide behind this pandemic. कैसा है, jobs are going bad and all these are excuses. Don't go for that, right? After you answer this, आपने ये question answer करने के बाद, you have to now start preparing. Okay, it's not easy. Firstly, your experience of 16 years, 16 साल की experience, it's a great asset. Convert this asset into an opportunity. इसका मतलब है कि आप लिस्ट आउट करिए बैठ के कि क्या क्या मेरा क्वालिटीज है, क्या दो दूसरों से मैं आई एम बेटर देन दैट. ये सब आप लिस्ट करने के बाद, हाउ कैन आई यूज दिस टू माय नेक्स्ट जॉब और नेक्स्ट प्रोफेशन, एंड देन अपस्किल योरसेल्फ. क्योंकि 16 साल तक आपने कुछ किया नहीं होंगे मेरी उम्मीद से. सो अपस्किल योरसेल्फ. आज फॉर इंस्टेंस अगर आप मान लीजिए मैनेजर हो या टीम लीड हो, आप आज क्या करना चाहिए कि आप जो है काफी ऑनलाइन कोर्सेस हैं, जैसे फॉर इंस्टेंस हाउ टू यूज आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस फॉर मैनेजरियल डिसीजंस. इस प्रकार के कोर्सेस करें, अपस्किल करें आप, and then you will make yourself. So जो भी next employer है, they will know that you are not a stagnating person. आप अपना मतलब ऐश करने के लिए नहीं आए हैं. You are actually a person who's looking forward. You still got ambition in you, right? You're only 40 if you got a job at 25. So you got till 40 more years, क्योंकि आजकल की retirement age is 80 years. So you got plenty ahead of you. So choose this carefully, prepare yourself. At least it'll take 2 years. And then the last thing I want to tell you, because for shortage of time, the last thing I want to tell you here is do not resign your job until you get the next one. Okay, today it is a matter of survival. आप resign मत करिए, आप अपना तैयारी करो, and when you get an opportunity, then resign. Yeah, that's it.
You have said it right, and I have seen not only people who are into their middle age, youngsters also are facing issues during this pandemic. They have lost the confidence, and I think you have answered it rightly. You should come. You should have one session every week because the number of comments which are pouring in, I can't. I don't even know where to start. But thank you so much, Colonel, for helping everybody. And before we take few questions of the viewers, I would like our production team to play the contact details of Colonel so that if you're not able to go through all questions, they can contact him personally.
Absolutely. I mean, I would love to do that. Yeah, anybody can contact me. I mean, I would like to share that anything with them. It's free of cost.
So, production team, can you please share his? Okay. So, before we wrap up the show, can you please play the questions quickly? And we would like Colonel to please answer in short due to the time constraint.
Yeah, passage of time. I know this passage of time. I'll quickly do justice to that.
Okay. So, he says, I have startup plan with me, but I'm not able to concentrate to implement. What's stopping me?
Right. So, firstly, is that you need to chalk out as to what is stopping you. You need to identify that. Right. First, you identify that. You need to sit and work on that. Just list out what is stopping you, and that will give you an answer to take you to the solutions for this. Right. I know Vivek Ananda. Yeah, nice to meet you on here, Vivek. Okay.
All right. Sachin Istani says, is this book relevant for those who are already employed and shifting or transiting jobs?
Absolutely. I covered that too. Yes, it certainly is. And you will get a lot of help from this book and how to do that. And your overconfidence, how to handle overconfidence, that will come in this book. Yes. Yeah, we can go
All
to the
right.
next one.
Okay. Tuchu says, what is your new message to the youngsters, majority of whom are unable to find a job, to make use of their qualifications and experience?
Yeah, so youngsters must realize that your opportunities will come on how you're able to extend your capabilities. Okay, so you need to then focus on your capabilities and what capabilities of yours should you then develop your qualifications. So you need to do that, fine. And once you do that, and just believe me, don't think that an experience is something which is okay. Somebody asks you that we need 5 years of experience job, and if you happen to have 3 years, don't worry that 2 years can always be made up by the kind of way that you answer the questions. And that my book helps you do that, right? How do you enhance? How do you add value to it? So you'll be able to do that in this way.
Okay. So Deepa says the new education policy, which the government claims to implement by 2022, stresses on mother tongue to be the medium of instruction to young students at school. Does elevating the importance of English benefit students? Could you please share your views on how this would affect the students in their future interviews?
See, this is something because this is unique to our own country where we have so many languages. Okay, most countries do not go through this, right? So that's something unique. Mother tongue is essential. We need to know the mother tongue. Yes, that's a medium it can be a medium of instructions, but must realize the reality that today English is a language which can connect with people. If you're looking
Right.
for an entrepreneurship within your state, you may be okay to be knowing your mother tongue. But then, if you need to go out, you need to go to a foreign country, or you need to go to a company who's an MNC. You need to speak to people from various countries. If you don't know English, you can't do it. So it's not a question of politicizing that issue. It's a question of a necessity. It's a question of a need that you need to be good at English. So you have to do that. You have to be good at that. So government policy is one, but what is essential for you, you must practically involve yourself in doing that. That's very important. Fine. So I think it's very good. It's a policy is fine at one particular stage, but you need to draw a line there. But you need to do it. Okay. So Debashish has got a question. What do you think are the main reasons freshers interns are not making it in the interviews? Right. So that's a question. So see, one of the reasons why the I did a lot of freshers and interns who did, and one of the reasons why is that they're not prepared. Okay, I told you that in the, and I've also mentioned in my interview, 60 to 70% of you being successful in an interview is only when you prepare that much for it. So when I come, there are interns who come and I ask them, okay, do you know about the company? I said, yes, sir. I've been to the website. Okay, so what do you know about the website? Can you just tell me something about the company? They just can't go beyond three sentences. I mean, you should know the
Right.
culture of the company, you should know the finances, you should know the board of directors, you should know what are the products and how are they dealing, what is the CSR activities. The whole lot of them is there in that website. So you're not prepared. So and then they come very shabbily dressed. They think, one of them I asked him that why are you so shabbily dressed? So he says, you're looking at my what do you call talent. Why are you looking at my dress? I said, you
I
have
have
to.
faced that. I was taking interview and the guy was wearing, I mean, I said, why are you wearing shorts to the interview? He said, because it's a fashion company. I said, fashion does not mean you have to be properly dressed up for the interview at least.
Yeah, so this is a policy. You see, something. There is psychologists will agree with you when you hear this. The first 30 seconds is the first impression, and that impression carries. So when you
Exactly.
walk into the interview room, your body language, your smile, your dress, this captures in the first 10, and the way you say hello, the way you say good afternoon, good evening, whatever it, how you address it, that seals your impression, first impression, a good extent. Okay, and if you're shabbily dressed, I mean, so you can have any amount of arguments for your dress, but this is the truth. Your impression matters.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, how to overcome stage fright? Rahul is asking.
Okay, Rahul, stage fright is okay. So this is not part of an interview per se, but I will answer this how you can do that. Okay, so stage fright is something which is because you're anxious. What will the people think of me? You see, your fright is coming from you. It's not the people who are sitting there. Nobody's stoning you there. Nobody's abusing you there, right? You're just going there to speak. So what you need to do is that you need to practice this. Okay, have an audience of one or two people in front of you and practice it. Speak to people in the audience, pick them up, speak into their eyes, speak into their face, pick people from the audience. When you do this and do it as a conversation, as if you're speaking to that person in that audience, believe me, your confidence improves tremendously there. And then don't ever think they're making a mistake. Like I'm sure Richa and I, both of us, when we are doing this interview, we know that we are on the air. We're not even thinking what mistakes we are going to do. Is there a word gone wrong? Has the spelling gone wrong? Is the sentence grammar gone wrong? Nothing. I don't think we both are thinking about those things at all. Right? Is my accent correct? Right? These are things that we don't bother about, and that's how we are able to be where you are. I think that's what you should just go and freak out. Just go enjoy yourself on the stage. You will deal with your fright automatically that way. Practice it. Do it in front of the mirror. You will do well.
Rightly answered. So Tanvi says how to buy the book. I think there are a lot of viewers who would like to take the book. The book is available on Amazon, and we would be sharing the details in the comment section also after the interview. We have also shared the contact details of Colonel, who as to if you have any. So here's the mobile number and the email ID if you would like to reach out to him, and the website which would be yes, so the website where you will find all the answers to your questions, also about the link to purchase the book, right, Colonel?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you. So the website will take a couple of days more to come up, but
Okay,
yes,
it's
you can always go on Amazon and look for the book. You will get it there. Yes.
all
So
right.
there are two, the Kindle version as well as the paperback version, whichever you're comfortable with, you can go for that. And I've reduced the cost of the book because I know a lot of people today are going through hard times. So my book actually is costing around 800 bucks, but then I've reduced it to 300. Okay.
Oh,
299 is the cost.
that's
Yeah,
quite
I think
reasonable.
yeah, so I reduced it by more than 67% so that at least a
Oh,
lot of people can do it. So please go ahead and make use of it. I will
yes,
not be
we
able
had
to.
few questions already where people wrote about what is the cost of the book, if any discount. and you have already reduced the cost so much, and it is reasonable.
Yeah, so just 300, just one pizza and one soft drink, you get a book which is
Exactly.
lifetime. Use it lifetime, and you will go through few more interviews. This book will never get outdated. I can promise you that. Your method of interviews can get outdated. You could go automatic. It can be an AI who will be interviewing tomorrow. It may be
Yeah.
automated, but still you need to go through the process of interview, right? The method is different, but interview will never die for next 50 years, right? So I think
Right.
the book will be useful.
All right. So, can you play the next question? So, what do you think are the main reasons that people fail in the interview?
Yeah, one of the first reason is they're not prepared. They don't prepare. They just go as if they're going for a walk in the park. They just go for that. They think that their experience, their education, they come from premium institutes and all that, so that will pass them through. Certainly not, right? Today, every now because of the pandemic, what's happened is that people are now, reduce their workforce. So they can manage even with reduced workforce. So you have to be really good. Okay, so if you have to be really good, you need to make yourself, a lot of people don't add value to what they're saying when they do the interview. That is another reason for failure. They don't say. And then I was talking about perception, right? I will tell you about this. This is something which a lot of people don't even understand. This There is a perception which the interviewer has got, that this particular job role profile, I am looking at these things. Okay, now that perception does not match when you do not add what you can do, add value to that perception. If your value add is not there, your perceptions are not matching. And out of 10 people, if they have to select one guy, the guy whose perception is the best, who matches with what the interviewer is, that guy gets a job. So you need to know how to match that perception. So that is where this book will come to help, as to how do you prepare for it. This is one of the major reasons why people don't they fail. And secondly, it is not in their heart when they go for the interview. It is just, I got a job, I'm desperate, I need this job. Those kind of sob stories will never work, right? So that's
Right.
it.
So, okay. So, my production team informed me there are more questions, but we cannot take because it's already been 1 hour. And
Sure.
I would like my team to pass on the questions to Colonel, which he can answer it later, or people can contact him on the given details. So, thank you so much, Colonel. We come to the end of the show. Thank you so much for taking our time and making it fruitful and insightful for our viewers. And this is the longest interview I've taken online. And yes, positivity, being strong, and facing what is coming through is the need of an hour. We had the previous show which was about giving job expo 2020, and here is Colonel, which is again talking about something positive where you can crack your interviews and how you can do it by, and also he's a leadership coach. So we are only getting things which are positive, which will make impact in your life. That's what Trending Live with Richa Mehta is all about. Thank you so much, Colonel. Any last comments or your experience about the show?
You're wonderful. I'm very glad I've connected with you, Richa, and that this is wonderful. And a lot of people, that's what is more important. I've been able to connect with a lot of people, and your team. Thanks a lot for your team. So they've gone through my very demanding your ways, as it comes from the army, that you are always checking and over checking and everything, and they've done a splendid job about that. And thank you so much. It's been delightful talking to you, and it's been an enjoyable experience. I'll remember this word. I'm looking forward for the recording so that I can preserve this, right? And great, nice.
Thank you so much, everyone, and thank you once again, Ernest.
Okay, bye, take care, have a great
Bye.
Sunday.